Well, let's start off this from a rather very sad one. Now, her hopes and dreams were dashed after she lost her husband and 5 children to HIV and AIDS infection. Comfort, their mother, is now the only surviving member with positive HIV status and feels that she has nothing to lose anymore in the world. In a bid to satisfy her sexual crave, she engages in unprotected sexual intercourse with strangers who propose love to her without disclosing her HIV status to them. After the death of her HIV-infected husband, she has had unprotected sex with 10 other men, some of whom are married. Comfort explains in the Akan language why she conceals her HIV status from the men who make sexual advances towards her.
I'm scared that
if I disclose my status to the men, they will sack or quit the relationship with me. And if that happens, they will spread the news in the neighborhood.
I'm scared
that if I disclose my status to the men, they will sack or quit the relationship with me. And if that happens, they will spread the news in the neighborhood.
Well, so that's the sad story of Comfort there. Now, we understand that Akuse Government Hospital has once threatened to cause her arrest if she continues to spread the virus. Joining us for a conversation on this is the Elsie Ayeh, who is president of NAP Plus. That's their pressure group for persons living with HIV. Grateful for joining us here, Elsie. Hello, Elsie. Kindly unmute so we can have this conversation. Elsie, I'm sure you've listened to this story. Is this the first time you've heard a story like this, or this is something you encounter in the course of your work?
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for reaching out to me and NAPLAS on this issue. This is not the first time we have heard of people having unprotected sex, and it is wrong because all we are trying to do is to prevent new infections. That is our responsibility as NAPLAS. So we do not condone people who willingly transmit HIV. There is even a law against it. Willful transmission is a crime. So I would start with that. That is the situation.
But
however,
yeah, I'm listening.
However, looking at the situation of this woman, and I'm looking at her as a human being, even when you were narrating the whole story, I was filled with some pain. Because imagining losing your husband and one after the other, losing the children, 5 of them, one after the other. You can imagine the sort of mental anguish she had gone through. And after that, knowing that persons living with HIV, once people know that you are positive, nobody wants to have anything to do with you. And I'm not holding brief for her, but then her survival and everything, I think made her just go, because that was the only way she could get money or whatever to
survive,
take care of herself, to survive. So it was a case of survival, not really intentionally going out. Look, the pain she had gone through, why should she want somebody else to go through same? But then she will want to say, well, the men came, I didn't call them, but it is wrong. So I'll just, that's what I'll just say for now.
Okay. Once you've met people like that, are you able to tell what informs their decision to do what they do? I mean,
it is fear. It is fear, and it is fear of stigma. We all know how HIV came about. We all know what people think about persons living with HIV. And it takes the grace of God for people to rise above, all those, the stigma, all that people say, and move ahead. Self-stigma is something which is very strong. And that is the first thing that all persons living with HIV go through once they test positive. And what they would need to do is to go out of it. But how do we support our communities of persons living with HIV to go through this self-stigma and come out of it, not thinking that you are going to spread it, or people intentionally infected you or anything like that. That is an area that we are looking at, internalized stigma, self-stigma, so that once we help persons who have been newly diagnosed as being positive, to understand what it means and to know that there is a way through, I think they will guide them to take the best decision as they move ahead with their lives and ensure that they get virally suppressed by remaining on treatment.
So what then this means is that we need to check, how people stigmatize against these people. How do we break that chain?
That is a very big issue. I mean, it takes education, but they've already made up their minds about persons living with HIV. Some people say these people are very wicked, and they made it their aim in life to make sure that they infect as many people as possible. But this is not true. So we need to, the way we break the news to those who are positive when they come to test first, I think it's a starting point. And that is why we have persons living with HIV who have been trained to work in health facilities where antiretroviral therapy is given, so that they use themselves as an example. We use ourselves as an example to encourage people. Listen, look at me. I am positive, but I am all right. And this is what I did. And then we have the patients to listen to them, listen to their fears and all that, and then try to alleviate. But then we continue following up on them so that bit by bit, as they face other challenges or questions, we are able to help them understand and be there for them and remove that stigmatizing behavior. We just accept them as they are, but they have to do the right thing. And I think that is what the starting point.
Okay. But I mean, you mentioned that there's a law that prescribes this, or that forbids someone willfully spreading HIV and AIDS. Now, if that's the case, is it that the people who do that are intentionally do it, and that we could probably describe them as being wicked?
It is just a reaction. It's just a reaction after testing positive. Oh, I got it from somebody, so I'm also going to give it back to other people. Many years ago, over 15 years ago, somebody came from outside the country and rented a hotel somewhere, and that was his duty, to infect as many people as possible. So there were so many women who went there, and he was giving them money, foreign money, you see. So that is somebody who made up his mind he was coming to spread HIV. But then there are so many reasons why people do that, but it is wrong. And if someone is reported and it is found to be that the person willfully, intentionally decided to spread HIV, he or she will be prosecuted. There is a law against willful transmission of HIV.
So in the case of this woman, yes, we understand that she is doing it for survival. But a medical facility has warned her once that if she doesn't stop, they'll report her. Was that a right reaction by the health facility, or they should have caused her arrest?
It is a right reaction, warning her. Maybe she was thinking about survival, as we are thinking or talking about, but it is wrong. And we are trying to reduce new infections. And here she was, positively going about, spreading the virus. So she was warned. But I think that the next follow-up is that NAPLAS is in all the regions. And I think that our regional reps and all that are there. So if they had handed her over to them, they would have taken her up. Once we have somebody like that, we don't leave them alone. We follow them, we ensure that they go on treatment, we educate them, we answer their questions, we do whatever we can to support them so that they would be on treatment and be virally suppressed and not spread the virus. So we are currently also looking at those issues and looking at how we can support such persons so that they wouldn't want to look for a means of earning and a living through the sort of means this woman used.
So her situation also brings to the fore the support systems for people with HIV and AIDS. I mean, you've been in this sector for some time. How is it looking like? And what ought to happen to change it for someone like her so that she doesn't feel she doesn't have anybody?
Okay. I want to correct one thing. You've been saying HIV and AIDS. We are persons living with HIV.
Okay.
You hardly see AIDS.
Okay.
If you see that all the time, it means we're not getting anywhere. We've gone very far to reduce people getting to the AIDS stage.
Okay.
So we are persons living with HIV.
Okay.
And we are doing very well to be virally suppressed so that we don't transmit HIV.
Good to
so
hear.
What we are doing now is that we are setting up disclosure teams. It's very difficult for people to get the information that they are positive and then continue living their lives as if nothing has happened. One key thing that has to happen is that you should have somebody that you can share your status with, somebody that you can talk to, somebody that when you feel lonely, you feel, I don't know, then you can call that person readily. We usually put ourselves up, there for such people, but we're thinking that in every facility, you have some sets of disclosure teams who would reach out to that person, talk to him or her, make friends with them, and then guide them. Is there somebody in the family you want to share this with? Is there somebody? If they say no, fine. But then that team will be that person's support for the time being until we see that he or she is feeling much better and ready to take up the reins of their lives and move ahead.
Okay. Which means that this should have started when the news about her husband and children, started coming through. Someone should have been there for her.
Somebody should have been there for her.
But this woman's case is also such that she doesn't have a place to stay. And that's why she was found in a certain place, a certain shelter, and she lost that as well. So I wanted to find out from you, what kind of support systems we could give to people like that? They have nowhere to go. So are there support systems in place already, or should there be one for such people?
Thank you very much. There are no such support systems, but there should be one. And as we are talking now, I am sure my Eastern region now chair of NAPLAS has reached out to that woman. She's a wonderful woman and she does that. That is what we do. I have a number of them at home with me because they were kicked out of home and there was nowhere they could go. And they could do anything. We need that support system. We need support also for children who have lost their parents to AIDS. And they are there and they are being ill-treated, not intentionally, but out of fear that these children may be positive and may transmit or infect people intentionally. Little children, they wouldn't do anything like that. But it is the fear that makes people react the way they do against people living with HIV. But there are no support systems, and that is something that we hope that from this time on we are going to put in place. We're told there are shelter homes for those who face gender-based violence, but there is nothing for people who are neglected because of their HIV status.
So your group, how are you able to come by the people? Because I'm asking this because it looks like you missed that of Comfort.
You think I have met?
No, I mean, do you know Comfort? Your group, are you aware of?
I don't know her. I don't know her. But I know my regional chair in Eastern region. And I'm sure she has heard about Comfort, and I'm sure she's talking to her. She's already reached out to her because she is at Akuse Government Hospital, also providing support to persons living with HIV.
So I asked that question because earlier you said that, I mean, when you are told that you have it, someone should be able to speak to you to get you to understand that this is not the end of life itself. And that's why I wanted to understand, do you know Comfort? Have you been able to speak to her? Because her case is such that she feels she doesn't have anyone, and that's why she's doing what she's doing. So how are you able to track these people?
Just as you have said, when we hear, and I also said that we have our members in almost all the ART centers in Ghana. They hear this, they get this information first, and they reach out to those people. In the earlier times, we had people called mentors. You bring somebody who you could share your status with, somebody who you are sure would support you. But then some people just go outside and call any passerby and say, please come with me and tell them that you are my brother or my sister, so that they can give me medication. And in the end, the reason for which the mentorship was put in place is not achieved. So our community members who are working in the facilities, who have been assigned to the facilities, are the ones who do that. We have those for mothers of pregnant and lactating mothers. We have some for young people called CATS, and then we have the models of hope, who are persons who are living with HIV, who have taken their medication for long, and many of them are trained counselors. So they are there, and they are the ones who should reach out to such people in such situations. And it's at the health facilities you get them. You know, that is where they come to be tested, and that is where we are also located. And then if we need to follow up at home, follow them up in their homes, we do that.
Now, Comfort looks like she doesn't stay at one place. She moves around. Should the state arrest her to prevent her spreading this to many people?
Or just imagining somebody who is already who is scared of persons living with HIV wanting to go and arrest her. But arresting may worsen the matter. I think that we should build a stronger relationship with the facilities and also with the authorities, the patients and all police, so that they know we have somebody they can call when such issues arise, so that we can reach out to those people and then take whatever steps that we can take to support that person. The person should never think that it is right and it is okay to go and spread the virus. No, it is not right.
So now that she is doing it, what must the state do?
One, I don't know what the states can do, but it is a pointer to the fact that there's a gap. There's a gap. People who are homeless, where would they go? Many of them go to prayer camps. Many of them sleep out in some dilapidated places, buildings which are not right. I think that we need that support for persons living with HIV. We know that usually they are sent out of their homes. We know that. I have some in my house now. So I think that is what we need to do. Okay. And it's happening across the country. So I think that is a structure that we really need to be serious about and put in place.
Elsie, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. So Elsie Ayeh is president of NAC Plus. This is still The Pulse on the Joy News channel now.